Saeed, how are you, buddy? Like I said in the tweet, you're one of my favorite guests, and you know I've interviewed well over 1,000, so that's pretty good, man. Saeed Zaman, welcome to F.A.C.E.
Hi, can you see my screen?
Got it, buddy. So we're looking at copper here. You're clear, and we have the copper up there,
Yep.
putting in a higher low. Now we have that was right here, I believe. Here's your Euro 1 hour. So I could tell you what your and I see you moving your cursor, but that's strange. You can't see what you're looking at. It should be on your desktop or your laptop.
It should be, but I don't know what I've done with it. It doesn't matter. As long as you guys can see me, that's all good.
Okay, so do you want to start with the copper?
Yeah, we can. Something different.
All right. Anything on your radar, bro? It's always edifying.
You know what it is? Towards the end of the month, I usually focus on short term, but I've got a few macro ideas I can go over, and then we'll just take it from there.
Okay.
So one that stands out to me, like I said, is copper right now. And if you look on it from a yearly perspective, okay, look how bullish we are from the yearly. So we've the low here comes in at 253929. We've taken out last year's low, and we've moved within it. Now it's only the second month of the year. However, look how much we've covered from last year's yearly candle, nearly half of it.
Yeah.
And if it's the year starting off really good, that's kind of a good thing. We've priced in the wick. We're above. Let's go to the 6 month. Look at the 6 month positive formation. So you can see, it's coming off, previous support here, and it's starting to turn now. So on a 6 month chart, where would be the next objective? It would be this high here. We break it down to the quarterly, and we get even clearer direction that we can see that we've clearly established support here, and it's turning. So I would not be bearish this.
Beautiful candle on the quarterly. It's like outside up, engulfing. You can't find a more bullish candle.
Nope. So when it comes to macro ideas like this, it's really good. Now let's see what this way really gets interesting. So we'll go to the weekly for this, because then we can see more detail. We've just broken out of multi-month consolidation here. So if I take that previous high there, drag that across,
right,
and I'll get rid of this.
So broke out, and now it's some supply levels up here.
Exactly.
Going back for, what was that, 2018.
So from a quarterly perspective, I mean, from a higher time frame perspective, yearly down, I have confidence now that it should be working towards there. So I can just mark out shorter term targets for that now. And I believe this is going to be the next resistance. We've nearly touched it anyway, but into here, I believe going to come. Bit of a liquidity gap there. And then aiming for that. I mean, as long as the yearly and the 3 months stay bullish, there's no reason to be short this. Ideal scenario would be if we could have got a pullback into here, but looking at previous historic price action, when copper's broken out, it gives you minimal pullback. So for example, whoever's trading like basic chart pattern like this, they're looking for a pullback, you ain't gonna get it. It's gonna go straight up. Similar to this here, when you broke out of this consolidation, no real pullback, just straight up.
Good point.
So I think this is a very
so the best breakouts are the ones that don't give people a chance unless they went with it on the breakout or the breakdown.
Yeah. Ideal scenario, obviously you want to see pullback, but if it's not going to give it to you, then there's no reason why you can't enter at least a small position.
There you go. Toe in water.
Yeah, and then if it does pull back against you, even better. But if it doesn't and starts forming structure for you to trail the stop losses, then you can just keep adding along the way until you get trailed out, working towards that higher time frame target with the macro view in mind.
All right, so, you brought up a great point. Do you have some type of EA or robot that, how do you construct or what do you use for trailing stop, bro?
I just do it manually.
Okay, so it's discretionary. Okay, so you just, it moves to a next level and you just tighten it up under the last important level it got through.
Yeah, and that's it. Okay. So ideally what I look for example's sake, if we look, we had this sort of this is an example of a smaller time frame one, but the same applies to higher time frames where we established some sort of range here. So when it breaks out of a range, it shouldn't return to that, it shouldn't really break below that. So for example's sake, if you take a long here or take a long on that breakout, then you know that where's the invalidation level below this range, because if that breaks, then it's going to go lower. So I use any type of breakout technique to trail it. So for example, when this happens, my stop loss goes from there to there.
Right.
And then in this example now, what range do we have? We've got this range here, and we've got this here. So if we break out of this now, where's my stop loss going to be? Below the range low. So every time a new range, consolidation, range expansion, range expansion, and that's it.
Okay. You know, the simplest things are the most powerful.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I think when people try to overcomplicate it, it's just ain't gonna work. But I think making it complicated makes them feel more, professional, this, that, the other. And really, it's just keep it simple. If it works, just don't why change it.
Yeah, I agree. So someone's asking here, I don't know if you wanted to go there, but you're talking about ranges. Definitely, we've been range bound in Euro for a long time.
Yeah,
so I'm curious what you think.
From the last time we spoke, I spoke about this, and I spoke about until we break out of either side, we're still range bound. Look at it, came down, took out these lows, all the way back up. So there's another pair I want to go over, cable. I think cable's stopping out. I took a short. Actually, I've just got triggered. But one interesting thing about cable is, we've had such a big move up in this fast and aggressive, and this is the key point we've reached. So let me get this pen tool out. So I've marked out this chart from before, but resistance, support, consolidated around here, but we broke resistance, okay, and we came into that. Now I had a macro bearish view on Euro GBP. So if you look at Euro GBP, this has been driven down mainly due to sterling strength. But the good thing, if you look carefully, this is a key support area. Now yesterday what happened, and when I'm timing it, I timed a possible top for cable, it was based on Euro GBP and not dollar index. Dollar index had a part to it, but Euro GBP, if you look at it, what time did it top out? Bottom 1500 GMT. We go to cable. I posted this chart on the Twitter. Look what happened. We had a stop. Where's it gone? 1500 GMT with a little run here.
Right.
And then broke down. So I think we have a top in short term at least. I'm very bullish macro, but I think we come into there. And what we had with the dollar index was it came into previous support here. So if we look, I remember from the last time I was talking about bearish dollar index, and my target was into this region here, and we've hit that. So at the same time, we had the dollar index coming to it. So then you got to ask yourself, which one's the better pair to trade? Do you trade the Euro USD or do you trade the sterling? Well, looking at Euro GBP, that's coming to key support. Dollar index is at key support. So what's going to drive this up? It's got to be cable weakness. So I think cable is the one.
What great analysis, man. Really good analysis. All right. So yeah, EG is important to me, even if you don't trade it, for giving you your preferred long and short, right? You and I share that in common.
So carrying on with that range concept, okay, what I just said, when I took a short here, if we look, resistance, support, but now that's broken down, my stop losses will be here. That's another entry there, short term there, and then into there as a new. So yeah, so using ranges for trailing your stop and entries. So those are, we shorted this anyway, but yeah.
So, okay, so you're long-term bullish here. You said you're long-term bullish and you're just looking for a correction. What would make you turn long-term bearish in the pound? Okay. I'm curious.
Okay, so let's break. Oh, look at all these drawing tools. Let's break this down, and it's going to depend on the dollar index a lot as well. So if I look at the dollar index, right, I think that see, because dollar index, right, it's been in this range. Okay, it's hard to pick a trend. All I can do for now is trade it from level to level, okay, until it clearly breaks out. So right now where dollar index is at, and I'll get to the cable, it's going to be trapped between. So this is the key macro level, which is the mid range, okay, of the weekly, of this weekly. Okay, that's that level. If that gets a clean breach, then we're going to be trading towards there. But until that's broken, it's still, and it's coming off of it, it's still bearish. So we've got a big move down into key support. It's natural to have a bounce, profit taking, end of month, whatever the case may be. So I'm aiming for, so we've got this pivot here. This was the down, we pushed the market up, and we had support, break of it, okay, we didn't get a retest. So this is going to be pivotal for me. I know it's a shorter time frame, but pivotal. So for example, say if I wanted to get hardcore long, if I'm not already long here, I'm already short cable, so short dollar through that, I'm going to be watching this. If this breaks, well, if it was acting as support before, it'll be acting as support again. Then I'll be aiming for this, which then takes me up to the last point where we got the breakdown from the mid-range when we retested it into here. Now this is going to be pivotal for me. Why? Because although it's a H1 chart I'm looking at, if we get a clean break above here, that takes us back above the mid-range for that weekly. At that point, I may have to completely get bullish dollar. Now if I break down the cable now looking at the cable, I mean there's nothing really bearish about this just yet. I mean looking at the quarterly for this, let's look at the yearly for this. Let's see what the yearly is looking. Same as the quarterly. We've just taken our last year's low. Where were we approaching now? So we're going to approach a key resistance, which is going to be last year's open. So we mark that out. So that comes in at 135.035, and then we'll take it down from there. 135.035. Okay, now we'll break down to 6 month. Okay, so just from this chart alone, where's the next liquidity can be resting? Above the previous 6 month high. So that high comes in at 133.627.
Okay, that we didn't quite get there yet.
Nope, but
and we didn't achieve that.
Usually, what market likes to do before it takes a level and it wants to go higher, it'll turn just before that, and then it get everybody short again, then boom, rally. So I personally think, going back to that, the GBP, the sterling rally will probably resume once Euro GBP comes into here, which is a key level. I'm still bearish Euro GBP. See that SR level there? So what I would like to see is a run of these highs here into there. Now, if it breaks down from there, and at the same time we've got GBP USD into this support level, that's confluence. So I'll wait for my bullish price action, and then that could be the continuation play. So it's not confirmed yet, but if it showed me bullishness here and the Euro GBP confirms it and the dollar index comes into the resistance level I marked out, then you've got a green light. We'll carry on going long. So going back to that cable chart, okay, we'll go to the 3 month now. So the 3 month, okay, it's time to turn now. It's coming off key support. So yeah, I believe that's going to be the target there long term. We'll break this down further, and this is where I'm going to go back to my MT4 platform. I'm just so used to it, and I'm going to mark out shorter time frame ranges, and as to why, building that structure behind it. So if we look on the monthly, I think I went through this before, we've come out of a massive accumulation here. We've rallied. All we've done is we've come back down and retested the accumulation here. And since then, what have we been doing? We've been turning. Now, if we look, we had one test of that range high there. So that was the range set. That's the mid-range. Pushed up. We broke below it. Rallied. Made a higher low. So that's a swing low in place. Okay? So on a weekly perspective, if I'm looking for higher highs and higher lows, well, as long as this low holds, this is from a macro point of view, then it's still bullish. So low,
where
high.
does that come in? 27.5 about?
Let me check.
Line in the sand that you can,
That low comes in at 127.70s. Yeah, close enough. Yeah.
Okay.
So whatever the pullback is, I'm going to be going towards this level here with these highs, next. So let's go take this a step further. Yeah, so that's the macro view. So how far can the pullback be? Well, we don't know until the dollar index tells us. But this is not that far from the dollar index. Is not as far from my key resistance. So then I've got a time, unless something drastic happens with the sterling, where it has a massive sell-off, some fundamental behind it. I'm assuming this is going to be the next level here. So we just got to time it with each other. Instead of just looking at sterling, say, oh, I'm long sterling here. Well, no, you got to look at the overall bigger picture. And the fact that, we've bottoming out like this, and even on a macro scale, if you look, that's a higher low. So I'm expecting like that. So yeah, long-term bullish cable. And if you look at all the sterling crosses, so if you want to look for further support, all you got to do is look at pound Aussie, pound New Zealand, all looking bullish. Euro GBP bearish. So out of all of them, cable is certainly the leader. So yeah, that's that.
Yeah, very nice analysis of correlations, buddy. Love it. Where to now?
Oil is one of my favorites. I think you guys covered oil. So is there any
No,
points?
I want to see what you're thinking.
Okay. I mean,
I'm selfish.
we milked oil last week. That's really good, nice for us last week. But oil, I was bullish this, and now we had a big drop here. Okay, but I think this still goes higher. So 3 month is okay. It's looking bullish so far. If we go to the monthly, okay, look at that turning point here. I've got some levels marked out. So if I go to my oil levels, okay, using my ranges, okay, there it is. So you look at the weekly, okay. If we look, I'm looking at areas of consolidations. We can see that was key support. We deviated it here, okay. Then we got back above it. As soon as we held above it, that told us that was a stop run, whatever you want to call it, or a deviation. Got back above it, held it, made a rally up. Now look what it came down to. So if I'm looking at the range, my range would be this green level here. This is the low, range low. That top green level is the range high, and this gray level is the mid range. Often price will deviate, will trade towards that. You can see how pivotal it's been. Resistance there, support there. It broke it. It tried to hold it. As soon as it failed, it dropped. Resistance there. As soon as it broke above it, it held and a big rally up. So it's acting as a magnet. If we break this down further, we've got this down with that push the market up. If I'm support there again, what I just showed you in the weekly, that was a deviation. What do you do? It's like an inverse head and shoulders, really. Support, and it's been pushing up. Now, if we look, that was the key high time support level. So, keeping in mind what the quarterly is saying to us, okay, key support resistance down. We had one attempt above it. So on the daily, you can see 1 week above it failed, another failed, closed and broken, closed above it, and then it dropped back below it. At that point, you're thinking, okay, maybe it's turning. So then, where you trap between that low and that high. So if market's going to go all the way back up there again, that shows us that, hang on a minute, this was just a squeeze on the longs or some profit taking, whatever the case may be, but then it's able to push back above it. So now I've created a new validation level, which is this low here. Why? This low has taken out this low and it's made a higher high. Going with a basic chart pattern of higher highs and higher lows, as long as this low holds, we're bullish. Question is, how deep does it come back? Well, we've got support here, we've got support there. We don't know exactly, so we got to break it down, and this is where my ranges help me identify. So if I look at my ranges, shorter time frame, we've come into this low here. Get rid of this for a second, okay? That's the low there. We've taken that out. At the same time, key SR, which is here. Now, normally, what do you see? Support, resistance should become support, yes, but market doesn't be as clean. So if I was to draw like a line chart, well, no, bad example, but you expect resistance, broken, support. But look at it, deviates back below it, it deviates back below it. Now what it's done is, it had one attempt back below it, but what I waited for was to move back above it, and then I went long here. It dropped, it took out the low here, and it's rallied. So now that it's got to stay above this now. Why? Because if it keeps going back below this SR level, that weakens that level. That doesn't look too good. So now I've taken my invalidation from that to that. So now, instead of having stop loss there, that's my invalidation level now. Because if that breaks, most likely we're going to have a deeper pullback. Now let's break it down further. So ideally, what I was looking for was a pullback into this level here. I didn't get that. But yeah, I'm very bullish this. So like I said before, where would be the next magnet for price? It would be this level here. If we break that, historically, what has been the pattern? A clean break of it leads to a massive expansion towards the range high. If that happens again, I'm going to be looking for that. Break of this would mean I'm hardcore bullish, okay? Trading it towards there, but we've got targets in between, which would be something like this here. And then each, SR level at a time, working towards that level there. So I'm very, very bullish oil. As long as
and the only thing changes that your negation level now is under that low at where again? 55 something, or there 56.40. The next level underneath where you'll become neutral is what price?
Okay, so if it breaks this low here, which comes in at
54.90, 55.
Yeah, if that breaks, okay. So yeah. And if you break
so
the
I'm curious. I'd like an update if you're still focused on it. Last time you were here, you're talking about Kiwi yen, and that when risk off came, you actually preferred the Kiwi yen short over the Aussie yen short, and I'm wondering what your work is saying now about
Oh
Kiwi yen.
man, that just that idea went totally out the window. When we got that bull run in the indices, I had to change my bias. As much as I was a hardcore bear, but then when market's changing, you gotta change
All
with it.
right. Okay.
But for now, I'm on the sidelines for those pairs. But one setup I do like. I mean, there's a pattern. I mean, I did a video on it yesterday. It's on my YouTube channel. But is the S&P? Okay, so shall I break down the S&P? At least a short-term idea, and the pattern I go over that can be applied to any time frame because if price action is fractal from that point of view.
Right. It's just a different title on the chart.
Yeah, I mean, macro view, I am bearish. I think these not sustainable, but short term, you got to go with what the market's saying. So if I start on the monthly chart, okay, what have we had so far? We've had a move like this. So we've taken out this low cleanly, okay? Imagine it's a 5-minute chart, it doesn't matter. So where's the next liquidity going to be resting? It's going to be resting above this monthly high here and that monthly high there, and then possibly into this level there. So these are objectives to reach for. So once I've got the objective to reach for, that gives me my direction. Then I break it down. So if I look at the weekly, so far we've taken out last week's high. So that last week's high comes in at 2803.15. So if I mark that out, okay. So now our trade is going to be hinged around that, even for these highs here. Daily, okay. What's the daily showing us? The daily, I mean, it's done 2 days of pullback. Yesterday closed bullish, okay. Today it came down, but it's starting to push up now. So if I break this down further, this is where it becomes clearer. I can start to create a range. So it's come down, basic TA, higher highs and higher lows. So it's come down, taken out this level from this support, made a higher high, it's come back down. As long as this, so my validation level when this happened would have been this low here. It's done the pullback. It's coming to where the move was initiated from, which was here. Now we break it down further and break the move down individually now. So we've come down, we took out this low, nice little stop run into a level, broke that high, breaking mark structure and pulled back. Now I posted in the video, as long as this low holds, we should be pushing higher. Where are we targeting? These highs here, and then the higher time frame objectives. Now we can go in deeper and look at, okay, what's the intraday range, okay, and can that help us? So if I look at high of the week to low of the week, this is the mid range. The mean is always a level that's always traded towards. Now it's not just because it's the mean. Does it have any other significance behind it? Has it been acting as a key SR level? So if we look, we can see it's a resistance there. It broke above it, but when it got back, it couldn't hold above it. So that means that this was a deviation above the mean. And this mean, this level, is only obtained once this week's price action unfolded. But the fact that it's proven itself, even historically, gives it more confidence behind this level. So support there when it breaks above it, resistance when it breaks below it, above and below. Yesterday, we had a couple of attempts, and I said in the video, when we make a clean break above it, then I can work towards the high of the week, intermediate targets here, and then there. So it's come back down, and so far it's holding yesterday's low, which is good, and it's starting to break towards the upside. So 2 ways to go. Ideally, I want to see low of the day hold, but I've entered this. I've got a stop loss there for now. But what would increase the odds of the trade? Again, what's the historical pattern? If it breaks above here cleanly and then holds it, how many times is it going to keep breaking above this mean level before it pushes up? So as soon as that happens, that's where I'd love to go long, and then target here and then here. So whatever I just went over, that can be applied to any time frame.
Okay. Another excellent rundown and some great correlations and ideas, Saeed. Thank you so much for stepping up and joining me today and joining us in edifying faith again. Really hope this is one of your best years ever, 2019 in all ways, not just trading, brother. So I really appreciate your work. I respect you, and everyone thanks Saeed for being here. You're welcome, Hamid. And Saeed, good hunting, bro. Let's keep in touch. You can follow Saeed at Trader1SZ, and he's a must follow. Anywhere else people could go to watch you or get a hold of you?
I have a website, tradersa.com. That's just like where I do my daily reviews and live trading sessions where people watch me trade. But yeah, Twitter, Twitter.
Twitter?
And,
What's the website address? One more time, Saeed.
It's just tradeasset.com, really.
Okay.
Yep.
Trader SC, no one in there. You needed the one to get that handle on Twitter. Okay. All right, my trading warrior brother. Thanks so much, bro. Good hunting. And remember, everyone, that's a wrap for us. See you tomorrow. Remember, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. See everyone tomorrow for TGIF. I have Mickey Fulp here to talk about the metals. And you saw what Saeed said about copper. So Mickey has some real good fundamentals to back up what Saeed has seen. So adios, everyone. Go to member chat to continue the journey of today's action. And we'll wrap it up tomorrow. Adios. And thank you, F.A.C.E. And thank you, Saeed.